All right, so we are just going to pray so that we can be able to begin this session. Kindly confirm, Dr. Oteyo and Madam Anisha, you can be able to hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
Miriam,
I
I
can.
can hear you.
I can.
Thank you. All right, so I'll just begin by offering a word of prayer. Our loving Father, who art in heaven, we want to thank you for this day. We thank you for taking care of us since morning up to now. And we thank you for the blessings that you have bestowed upon each one of us. Father, as we gather here so that we can be able to learn and discuss issues regarding parenting, especially our children who are adults, Lord, I pray that you may give us the wisdom that we need to draw from this session. We also pray that you may be with our speakers, Dr. Oteyo and Madam Anisha, so that they can be able to speak that which you have given them to speak. Lord, I pray that your presence may be with us, be with all those who have preparing to join so that they can be able to hasten their feet and join so that we can be able to begin together. May your presence be with us now, for this is my humble prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. So thank you very much once again for making time to join in with us. I know quite a number of us are probably listening through the YouTube channel, and we are also grateful for that. We are continuing with our parenting series, and this is the final series. We have had several sessions before. And the theme for our parenting series was parenting with grace, leading with love, and raising with purpose. And this particular session will be looking at the advisory, the departure, and consultancy, and we'll be focusing on adult children, young adults, and middle-aged adults between the age of 25 all the way to 65. Because you can still be able to have those still living with their parents. So this session is going to be live streamed, and we have our speakers here with us. We have Dr. Oteyo, who has been with us since the first session, and also Mrs. Anisha Otieno, who has also been with us, and they have dedicated their time so that they can be able to take us through this different sessions. Our key song today is coming from the SDA hymnal, song 590, and it's very familiar to us, Trust and Obey. So I'm just going to sing the first and the last stanza together with the chorus. When we walk with the Lord in the light of his word, what a glory he shed on our way. While we do his good will, he abides with us still, and with all who will trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. Then in fellowship sweet, we will sit at his feet, or will walk by his side in the way. What he says we will do, where he sends we will go. Never fear, only trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. Amen. Our key texts are going to be drawn from two books. The first one is Luke chapter 15, verse 12, and it says, "The younger one said to his father, 'Father, give me my share of the estate.' So he divided his property between them." The second one comes from the book of 3 John chapter 1, verse 4, and it says, "I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in the truth." I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in the truth. So those are two key Bible texts that are going to be able to guide our discussion today. So I just want to give a moment to Anisha and Dr. Oteyo to be able to say something before we can be able to begin this session. Anisha, you can go first.
Thank you so much, Miriam. Good evening, everybody, wherever you are. I'm glad you can join in. As it's getting to the end, I'm really, really excited, especially for this last session. And I hope that we are going to learn and we're going to share every moment we have together and get something fresh or new for the remaining this session and next Sunday. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anisha. Dr. Oteyo?
Thank you, Dr. Miriam, and the Family Life Seventh-day Adventist Creator Church for giving us this opportunity. I remember it began with a conversation, with a one session in mind. That's been a journey, step by step. We have ardent followers and those who will listen. And thank you, Miriam. You are a contact person. You allowed our direction, and we are very grateful. Know that we are no alls, but is what we have borrowed from professions and trying to practice each day through grace. So welcome, everyone. I'm ready for this session.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. So just to bring each one of us up to speed, we have had 5 sessions, and this is our 6th and last virtual session. And the previous sessions, we've been able to handle the conceptual stage, and that is where parents are planners, are preparers. We were able to also handle the caregiving stage, where parents are nurturers, the commanding stage, where parents are cops and they enforce boundaries and ensure emotional regulation. We've handled the coaching stage, where parents become educators and interpreters. And then we did last meeting, we did the collaborative, the interdependence, and the co-negotiation phase, where parents begin developing the skills of being negotiators, and they are raising children who are now going to be moving into this particular stage of the advisory, the departure, and consultancy. So whatever they planted in the collaborative, interdependence, co-negotiation phase will now be realized fully, even as they change again to a situation where they release control, they offer wisdom, and they build lifelong trusted partnerships. So I just want to welcome each one of you again to this particular session. And to start us off, I'll just want to request Dr. Oteyo to be able to unpack for us our anchoring text from Luke 15:12 and the one for 3 John 1, verse 4, and relate it to this particular session. Dr. Oteyo.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Miriam, our hosts, and warm greetings to our viewers worldwide. These two verses gives us what I can call the 3 pillars of this session. The first pillar being the release of control. The second pillar being the expected outcome. And that ends there for a responsible adult child. But in some of the cases, we have irresponsible children. We have the third pillar, And third, that pillar is the restoration of grace. So around me, I go step by step, going through these three pillars, using our key text, which is Luke 15:12 and 3 John 1:4. Beginning with the Luke, where we are told the young son came and said, Father, give me my share of the estate. This is the text that is echoing the aspect of release. And there are four types of release that we are going to talk about. The first one is the release of resources, which was the subject in this case for the prodigal son. But the question is, can we release resources even to the responsible child? The answer is no. But according to the Jewish traditions those days, the father, who was a Jewish, he was being dictated by the Jewish traditions that the son has the legal right to ask. So get it from me. The first release we are talking about is the release of resources, especially to our responsible child, release of resources. There are other aspects of release that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to illustrate why irresponsible children may not be given that resource release. The other type of release that we are talking about is the release of emotional control. Good friends, for the parents listening to me, for the parents who are having children of this age, let it go the urge to lecture and manipulate your children, even doing the right things at this age. We are talking about this age, especially the middle young adults. For the emerging adults, 18 to 25, you could be having some bit of control because they are depending on you. But for the 26 and above, release them, good friends. Emotional release. Let it go. No lecture, no manipulation. You let it go for the urge to nag. The second one is the release of the outcome. And the release of the outcome for the responsible child, it could be happiness and progress. Please accept that free will and the outcome that has come from that free will. And even for the responsible children, release them in terms of the outcome. We're coming to see how it is very helpful. Then the third one is release your territory. If they live under your roof, you hold the rights to the environment. You can release them from your home if they violate your boundaries. Please, I've talked about four types of release: release of resources, release of emotional control, release of the outcome, and release of your territory. Now, we have classified our adult children to two types. There's that responsible child who you can give the four releases that we are talking about. The release of control in terms of resources, in terms of emotions, in terms of the outcome, and in terms of the last aspect that we talked about. But for the one who is not responsible, please, you need to distinguish between enabling behavior or risking behavior, especially the outcome. And that is very common with parents. How I wish, and that is the recommendation of professionals, you allow the child to live by their outcome. And the moment we put good foundation, as suggested in Proverbs 22:6, a time is coming for them to realize and come back. So, what are we saying? For the responsible children, stop rescuing them from financial legal, and personal fallouts of their poor decisions, such that they can feel true weight of their reality. Reviews to fund destructive behaviors or compromise your own safety and well-being while keeping communication open for genuine change. And also anchor in prayer and availability, like the father of the prodigal son who was waiting only on core values and remaining ready to welcome the son back when he hit the bottom, when he hit the turning point. And in terms of the outcome, which is the second pillar, it differs. The expected outcome for a responsible adult child is, of course, the first one is active walking in truth, as illustrated in 3 John 1:4. The next outcome is the mutual adult relationship, whereby you have a relationship characterized by mutual respect, friendship, and shared wisdom. And lastly, as illustrated in 3 John 1:4, the fruit of great joy. Let me tell you, as parents, we experience great joy when we see the investment we add in our children producing, thriving, and self-governing adult. But what is the expected outcome of the responsible adult child? Is to face the consequences of their poor decisions, like the prodigal son, good friends. The son could be walking into the famine. They used their freedom to make destructive choices, which inevitably leads them to personal crisis. We call it the Big Ben experience. The second outcome is the arrival of brokenness. The expected outcome is not the immediate righteousness, but eating the rock bottom, which breaks their bride and exposes their need for the truth and change. And the third outcome is coming to see the sense moment, the ultimate goal of letting them walk away to trigger the internal realization, as illustrated by Luke 15:17, when he came to the senses. And this leads us to the third pillar, restoration of grace for the responsible children. My mothers who are here, the fathers who are here, I can testify some of us underwent the change because of this aspect of restoration of grace, and I give thanks to my mother. It requires, in fact, in Luke 15:20, it says, but while he was still a long way off, his father saw, and he was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son. He threw his arms around him and he kissed him. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, the parents who are here distressed about the responsible behavior of their children. How I wish you will become active and watchful in waiting one day the seed you planted, as illustrated in Proverbs 22:6. A time is coming when there is a turning about. And the third pillar will lead to the removal of shame upon return. The father did not demand a lecture, exact penalty. Oh my goodness. Instead, he covered his son's lungs with a loop, restoring his dignity immediately. And we can see the son is no longer a slave. The son was ready to return as a hired servant, but the grace completely reinstated him as a son with a ring and a celebration, proving that true repentance meets with full restoration. And as we do that, remember, there was this responsible child. How I wish we explain to them such that they are together in this journey. And the parents, we can be together in this, the united front. Thank you, my sister. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ari, for unpacking for us those two Bible texts. And it's very, very important. They directly fit in the role that we play in terms of releasing and what we expect after we have released. All right, so we are moving to Anisha. And this particular stage is usually filled with a lot of anxiety and some separation anxiety and some level of control, especially for the parent. The parent feels that they don't want to release this child so that they can be able to begin their life. But at the same time, they are supposed to be able to release this particular child. What are the psychological struggles involved in releasing a child? And when a parent gets stuck, does it speak that they love their children or they are in control of the child? And how can parents navigate this stage to build a lifelong parenting partnership? And what are the specific maternal and child roles in this particular stage? Over to you, Anisha.
Thank you so much, Miriam. I love this topic, this stage, especially because we are now moving away from what do we do for our children to now what are we doing as parents? What do the parents are doing? It's like the roles now have been reversed, yeah, somehow. So this question is asking about the anxiety that comes with the parents who now the child is no longer a baby. And remember, for mothers, it's a bit hard because this tiny human being, you've held them in your arms, you've carried them in your womb for 9 months, you've changed and bathed them, you've stroked their face, you've touched their tiny little hands, and now they're adults, and now you're like, what's going on? So the first psychological struggles that parents normally face, the main psychological struggles that parents at this stage normally face are, the first one is fear and grief. I know grief, we talk about someone dying or loss, no, but there is fear and grief. Parents always feel like they've lost something. There's the loss of a role. As I said, this child no longer comes to you for every nitty-gritty things they want in their lives. And there is a role that you're playing as a father, as a mother, that you can no longer fit in because now their world is expanding. They're having friends, they're having colleagues, they're having the outside world that is really big, and you just can't contain them anymore. So your role as a parent has already changed. Okay. And the version of the family you once had, whereby it's time to have dinner together, let us sit down together as a family, let's do this. It's now evolving. They can come to eat with you. Sometimes they will not come to eat with you. Sometimes you can be total strangers, but you're in the same house. You probably don't even see each other, maybe once in a while. And to some parents, this can look like sadness because you're losing something. You often feel you've lost something, things are changing. And that's why I said the first struggle is fear and grief. The second one is anxiety about safety and control. Dr. Teo has briefly talked about something on control, which I'll also elaborate about. So the anxiety here, whereby you as a parent, you constantly are worried about your child's well-being. This is no longer a child, it's an adult, yes, but you constantly want to know what decisions they are making, why are they making the decision they're making, what is good for them, where do they want to live, what college do they want to attend to, what course do they want them to pursue. So you're constantly scared, you're constantly anxious. Are they safe? If they don't come, because now when they're young, they could call you and tell you, oh, mom, I'm hanging out with friends, I'll come back at maybe 10 o'clock or something. And now they don't call you. You don't know where they are. Are they safe? And for those of us who have kids who are probably into drug and substance issues, we are so much concerned because we don't know if they are safe. So on the other hand, we can't control them. On the other hand, we can't control worrying about them. So constantly we are anxious about their safety. The third one is identity confusion. All right. So the parent, you defined yourself as a caregiver. But now, when the child is leaving, the child is probably now is transitioning to either go or maybe away abroad or to a different town, a different place. Who are you now? Who are you now? Again, now the identity confusion is now the parent, not the child. Remember, we had identity versus confusion, role identity versus role confusion in the other stages. Now it is reversed, and now it's the parent whose identity has the identity confusion. Who am I in this child's life? All right. And remember, this is when now they're having romantic partners, starting to really establish something serious, and they no longer rely on you for a lot of things. So you, who am I? You ask yourself. And then the other one that, the another psychological struggle that I find most parents are struggling with is something on unresolved attachment issue. And this is for you as a parent. If you had issues in the past with separation, even with your parents, you might feel you're being re-traumatized again, because you might feel like you're reliving that separation one more time. So you might find yourself, you want to cling so much to the child, not because you mean to be bad, but because it's just you're trying to soothe some wounds that you already have, and they are resurfacing because in your mind it was never processed. The unresolved attachment issue you had were never processed, and now it's becoming a problem. All right. And there's something Miriam has asked: is it love or is it control? When now as a parent you get stuck. Now the clearest way to separate the two is this: love seeks the child to flourish. Control seeks certainty and relief for the parent's own anxiety. I repeat that. If you show love to your child, you're going to seek this child to flourish. Even if it means this child does not flourish under your arms or under your roof, you're going to seek this. But if you find yourself always trying to seek control, to seek certainty, and it's only because the relief of your own anxiety, then you are trying to control, you are stuck. Another quick litmus paper we can ask is this: whatever you're doing as a parent, is it increasing this the young adult, let me call them young adult, the young adult's competence and confidence, or is it reducing your own discomfort? So maybe there is maybe a decision that a child is making, and you are part and parcel of that. Whatever decision you make, whatever action you take, is it to reduce your discomfort? And at the same time, remember, when you're reducing your discomfort, you're limiting that child. You're limiting their vision, their dreams, whatever it is. Or is this action or decision you're making increasing this child's competence and confidence? If it does one, you know where you're stuck. If it's about you as a person, your discomfort, then you are stuck. All right. So, and then the other one that Dr. Oteyo has really talked about, and it's a thorny one, it's about financial. Now, are you going to offer financial advice and safety net for this child? Or are you going to secretly be paying their bills, secretly bailing them out of problems, secretly doing something, especially for those parents who are both alive, the parents are both alive? Are you doing something behind your partner's back? Okay. And if you're doing things secretly, paying a bill secretly without discussing it first, then it is your need for control. All right. You are in control. You're trying to control that child. Children are going to come to us for financial advice, for financial, of course, assistance. They're your children. Of course, you must help. But how is it being done? Is this something that is in the open? Is it something you've talked about? Is there a place where this child is getting stuck? And are you enabling this child? Are you enabling some of the problems that this child is undergoing? All right. So whatever it is you do, be practical and be sure that it's not serving your own need. All right. And normalize feeling. You can tell this child you're proud of them, but also let them know that you're afraid. It doesn't matter how old you are. They need to know that you're also afraid for them. Right. And this also, when you name the feeling that you're feeling as a parent, it reduces shame and also helps your child to know that they can still come to you, they can still trust you and talk to you about whatever it is that they're going through. then you need to shift from rescue to scaffolding. Remember, we talked about scaffolding in last time, whereby as when there's at a certain stage where the children are growing, you need to be like a scaffold, always protecting, always protecting. Now you shift from rescue. Do not keep on rescue, keep on rescue. Replace immediate fixes with coaching questions. So instead of, oh, mom, I've not paid rent, or mom, I've not done this, or how much do you need? Then you just wire the money. Ask them, what is your plan? How can I support you while you try that? Let this child's autonomy continue to grow, because remember, their judgment is still not fully developed. They still need you, but can you guide them? The other thing that parent must also understand is that you still have to create clear boundaries and agreements with these young adults. All right. The boundaries don't stop. They start when they're young, they continue going on. Right. If you want to help with the rent, you have visiting days, you have communication frequency, whatever it is, have time limits and review about it. Because remember, boundaries are the containers of love, for love. You cannot have love without boundaries. There must be boundaries. There must be boundaries. Okay. So the just to quickly, as I wind up, is the specific paternal roles that I wanted to talk about. The maternal role: be the coach and be the secure base. Mothers, we are very emotional. We are very emotionally attached to our children. We offer emotional safety, but still maintain your clear boundaries, be non-judgmental, but support them. And then manage your own anxiety. All right. Manage your own anxiety. Don't feel stuck. Ask for support when you're feeling stuck, so that you don't either overcompensate for something, or now make this adult child to be your best friend. You're confident that things that your spouse used to do, you no longer give. Now you're turning those issues now to your child, and now your child is your confidant. The child is the one who knows all your legal things and stuff like that. You are mixing the roles. So stay with, let a child be a child, let the adult be the adult. Continue being the safe and secure coach, the secure base for this child, right? And for the child's role, the child must accept responsibility for their choices. Parents, this is a place where most of us don't agree. Every act, every choice has a consequence. So let children accept responsibility for their choices. Let them communicate their need. If they need your help, let them communicate in a clear manner. All right. And they need to be to reciprocate also when they're being supported. If they can do something in kind, even to help the others or help people who are stuck like them, let them reciprocate the same help. All right. The children must allow their connection between them without controlling and without manipulating the parents either. I hope that has really helped. And just to close that, I say that releasing an adult child is an act of love that demands a lot of courage, parents. It demands a lot of courage, and the courage for you to feel the grief and the loss that I've talked about. You're going to be losing this child, not losing per se, but you're going to lose this child. You're going to lose your role. All right. You're going to feel incompetent, and you have to have the courage to accept the new role that you're forming now. Your role from being a rescuer to now a secure base. And I hope that has answered our question. Back to you, Miriam.
Thank you so much, Anisha, for enabling us to understand what it really means, whether it is love or whether we are stuck or whether we are doing it the right way. So thank you for that. So Dr. Oteyo, what roles are involved in this consultant, advisor, counselor stage? Because we as parents are expected to play these roles, but we're just wondering whether these are the same or they're different, or they can be able to be used interchangeably. And then looking at the parental role, just as the way Anisha has explained, what is required of us as parents? And when we look at the Ellen White quote, that says, the parent who has been to his children a counselor and a guide rather than a master was planting the seed that will bring forth a harvest in after years. By a kind, patient, loving course, he is winning confidence and will not lose the influence when the children are grown. What does it mean to be a master here? And what does Ellen White mean when she says that we are bringing forth a harvest? Over to you, Daktari.
Thank you. I'm trying to share something. I don't know whether I have the rights. Yes, I think I have now. As I talk through it, let me, where do we have the need for sharing? Sorry, slideshow. Is this slideshow? Yes. Please, Miriam, confirm that you are able to see my slides.
Yes, we can see your slide.
Oh, thank you. Is it still there?
Yes, it's still there.
Okay. Sorry for that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for this. I have to say from the onset that these terms are fundamentally distinct and must never be used interchangeably. When we talk about advice, it means we are guiding, especially when our children are on the life crossroads, like selecting a college course, navigating through a career move, where we over structured intentional wisdom when asked. And dependent on the age of the child, sometimes they may not be asked, especially when we are talking about the emerging adults, and that is 18 to 25, those who are in campus. Then the second word that we have used is the counselor. And a counselor here, it operates in the deep emotional, spiritual, and marital dimension, especially assisting our adult children to deal with the developmental tasks that is required of them, especially those who are at the age of 25 and above, especially for marital and career issues. But equally, the emerging adults, they face a lot of challenges while they are in campus. They can require you to come in to assist them in dealing with deep emotional and spiritual or marital aspects. The consultant, which is the least intrusive, unlike the counselor and the advisor, this is where you wait to be invited. That is when you formally provide the expert perspective. In fact, if we take in the ordinary aspect, a consultant is a person who has CPE, is competent, is provisioned, and is an expert. Oh, Miriam, if you can mute. Can I get some echo from you? So CPE, when you are a consultant, one, you need to demonstrate that you have the knowledge, you have the correct attitude, you have the correct skills for you to be called competent. Proficiency in consultancy is you are effective and efficient. Effective means you are able to achieve a desired outcome. That is effectiveness. And efficiency, which is an aspect of proficiency, a characteristic of a consultant, brings the aspect of resources in terms of time, and money. That is using the limited resources and time to achieve the effectiveness. What does it mean? Effectiveness is a condition, is a necessary condition for proficiency. You can be effective, not necessarily efficient, but you cannot be efficient if you are not effective. So basically, what am I saying, parents? These are three distinct words that cannot be used interchangeably, and they can be used differently based on the age of the child. Remember, we have given product classification of emerging adults, middle adults, the young adults, and the middle adults with the different ages. And the next thing that I wanted to comment on, Miriam, is we are adults, or we are having adults of children who are either responsible or irresponsible. Which one precedes the other? And that is the presentation that I wanted to put there. Now I can go to my presentation from the current. Now, these three roles, I hope Miriam, people are able to see what precedes the other. For your responsible child journey, you begin with advising. You can over-devising. We call it, that is the launching strategic position you have as a parent. Because here is your responsible child. He has got a job. He wants to settle down in terms of career and a marriage. You can come in as an advisor. You can launch him. In our traditional African society, especially from the society where I come from, this is the time my community used to have the cooking ceremony where you call your daughter or your daughter-in-law, your son have just married, you give them some food, you give them some sufrias, and that's what are you doing? You are launching them. And we're not saying that the kids need to get married. Even when they are not getting married, you can launch them. Like your child may wish to go and stay elsewhere. You, as a parent, you are in a position to know secure places, to know places that have facilities, which you can assist your child in getting an affordable place to stay. That is for a responsible child. The journey begins with the lounging. The second step where counseling comes in, remember staying independently. The release is not an easy journey. It has challenges. Let me tell you, I remember when I began my life, I put everything and I left a cooking stick. It is very late in the evening. I want to cook. I don't have a cooking stick. Look at that, a big challenge. So this is the time we as parents, we are the support system for our children. And the last one in that loop is the consultant. And as I've said, as parents, all parents, we need to be deliberate. Your child will come to you as a consultant when they feel you are competent in the area they want to ask you the question, that you are proficient and you are an expert. You need to be deliberate in this. If you don't have them. And when you have them, you can assist. You see, our children, especially the generation we are having, they believe in quick fixing. We call them the microwave generation. This is the right time for you as a consultant to help your children realize that you have achieved and you have put them in the current position through time, not quick fix. Not through flex trap or the flex lifestyle. But for the irresponsible child, you turn it upside down. And this is where we go wrong, because the moment you begin advising for the responsible child, they will feel you are controlling them. They will resist. Excuse me, parents. This is the time for you to be a silent consultant. because you believe in what you laid in your child. Proverbs 22:6. You are a silent consultant. You are still waiting for the moment your child will come to you, because whatever irresponsible behavior that they engaged in, they are facing the consequences. They have hit the bottom. When they come, this is not the time for lecture. This is the time to use your competency, to use your proficiency, to use your expertness as a parent who has been in this, to accept your child unconditionally. Then from there, you come to the counselor. You assist the child to heal. And then from there, now you can have an opportunity for you to advise your child. But we do it upside down. The child sits, excuse me, my good parents, you are doing the right thing, but you have begun from a wrong journey. I wish today evening, is my child responsible? Advise, counsel, consult. My child is responsible? Consult, counsel, advise. That is my wish this evening. That is my wish this evening. Coming to what my sister asked me about the harvest. Let me go to the harvest. I hope it was talking about the outcomes, I think. Yes. So, good friends, after we have understood that loop in different, for our different children, the next thing is, what are the expected outcomes and our behavior or our role, our paternal role will be slightly different. For the fathers in the house, good friends, every parent, and this one has to be understood and don't feel guilt. Every parent wishes good things for their children. Let me tell you, my sisters, when I went astray, born and brought up in the Seventh-day Adventist, by Form 2, a book has been put, 22 reasons why I should not use alcohol. Not that my parents didn't lay that foundation. So it's up to you now to know, where can I classify my child? If it is a responsible child, as a dad, you begin launching. Push your child forward to the public success, career growth, and calculated risk taking. But if for the irresponsible one as a dad, excuse me, enforce the family face, hold the line against the enabling behavior, and this forces the child to face the real world, risk resilience. And for the mothers in the house, for the you are responsible child, this is the time to lay a relational connectivity foundation, or to support what we already did, deepen the emotional ties and share life milestone with mutual joy. But even for the irresponsible, my mothers, and this is the echo that I give my late mom, be a watchful waiting. Keep on the empathic heart open for genuine brokenness, while strictly reinforcing to fix their self-inflicted series. The way men has been made, we are not emotional. We give up very fast. But the ladies in the house, let me tell you, for those who have known us, they know our mother before our dad, because of the role mom did to my life. So mothers in the house, and I'm talking specifically for that responsible child, because it's an epitome of what I was being in my past. But it took the watchful waiting on my mother for this change to happen, and I'm serving in church right now. And what do we need to do? A united front is mandatory. Prevent emotional triangulation. Let not allow children to speak from the mother to the mother to speak to the dad. Never. especially for responsible children, because they will manipulate you and they bring a wedge in your marital relationship. The second thing in the United Front, protect the marriage, prevent the child chaotic lifestyle from driving a wedge between you. I've seen it. Mothers saying, you are not concerned about our son. The father saying, you are over pampering him. How I wish we separate the child chaotic lifestyle, but we are united in supporting the child for change. How I wish you create absolute predictability. When a child realizes asking the mother yield the exact answer as asking the dad, the manipulative behavior stops because it no longer works. That is my wish this evening, Miriam. Thank you. I'm sorry. The passion is because it was affecting me. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Daktari, for elaborating to us and for clearly telling us that these three roles of a parent, being a consultant, advisor, counselor, are distinct and they are played at different stages of the life of that adult child. All right, so we are moving to the next. Sometimes parents get stuck, and sometimes we have a mismatched relationship. Okay, and this mismatched relationship basically develops when a child has grown chronologically, but the parent has failed to update their relationship style. Okay, and so this ends up causing a lot of friction. So Madam Anisha, kindly tell us exactly how parents can be able to know that they are stuck and how they can be able to break free from this trap. Over to you, Madam Anisha.
Thank you so much, Miriam. So we're going to see how we're getting stuck and how we can move away from being stuck. All right. Now, relationship mismatch normally happens when the parent stays frozen. I'm going to use the word frozen. The parent stays frozen while the child or the children have changed. Okay, so you're stuck as a parent, you're using the specific parenting style, either authoritative, authoritarian, permissive, whichever parenting style you've been using, whichever stage they were at, and now you're still stuck there, but now your child has actually moved, right? So what are some of the signs that you're actually stuck? Sign number one, when you keep on having the same issues, same conflict, repeated arguments, same cycle without resolution. And these are often about four major things. The first one is about independence, this child's independence, what they think, what they define as independence, about time, about money, and about privacy. So as a parent, if you find that these four there are other things that you could be stuck, you could be having repeated conflict about, but the major ones I want to talk about is time, money, privacy, and independence. If you find yourself constantly, you're just arguing over the same thing, then you're stuck. Number two, I talked about role confusion for the parent now. Now, this is where now you as a parent, you're still making decisions for your adult child. And you're treating them as if they are teens, as if they can't manage basic tasks. You're still doing everything for them. All right? If you find yourself as a parent having that role confusion, you are stuck. You are so stuck, right? The third one is increased secrecy. Increased secrecy, I spoke about it a little bit, Apple, and also an avoidance. If your child is now hiding things from you, and they want to withdraw, they keep on lying, they use avoidance to escape repeated control or judgment, then something is not all right. Either you or the child or the both of you are feeling stuck. Either it's also you not telling them everything or them not telling you some of the things that they used to tell you. Of course, there's a point where they're going to withdraw But then when it's too much, like you can literally see this child is lying and they're hiding something, then obviously there's a problem. The fourth one is emotional escalation. Now, the normal conversation you used to have no longer feels normal, no longer feels regulated, but now they quickly move from calm to shame to anger or stonewalling. You're able to speak calmly with this young man or young lady. Now all of a sudden, anything little you say it's like it just makes them lose their composure, and also makes you lose yours. So you find that emotionally, either or both of you are just escalating things. The fifth one, stall development. Now look at this young person, the milestone that they should be having. I'm not talking about now the developmental milestone. I'm talking about milestone like job seeking, managing finances, relationships. If the child is intentionally is lacking, is lagging behind, then you try and help find out what is happening. But if there is no clear indication or clear reason as to why they're not doing that, like you provided all the necessary things that this child needs, but they're still stalling, something is not okay. So the stall development, there's some stuckness that you need to be looked at. Then there's the parent identity entanglement. The parent identity entanglement is very, very weird, because now it's the parent self-worth that is kind of tied with the child's behavior achievement. And this is where you had, whenever we speak to especially young girls who probably have had children out of wedlock, they've gotten pregnant before, it's the main anger parents normally have is, what will people say about me? What will people think about my parenting? And that's when you find most men or most fathers, they turn the finger now pointing to the mother. You didn't teach your daughter well. You didn't do this well. And when it comes now to maybe same-sex relationship, things that we are very shy about, now we start thinking it's about us. Says there's something wrong I did. That is why my child is doing this, or my child is punishing me for something. So you are tying your self-worth as a parent to your child's behavior or the achievement. So if my child achieves, becomes a doctor, attains that PhD, whatever it is, the achievement that I think means something for my own status, I feel good and I'm okay with it. But I still tie it like it's me. It gives me sense of self-worth. If my child does something wrong, then it's about me. So when there is that parent identity entanglement, you are stuck as a parent. So what do you need to do from a grace-based process? What do you need to do? First of all, you need to stop and map the mismatch. You must stop and look at it. This child's behavior, this child's decision has little to do with me as a person or me as the parent. It also means that this child is also experiencing or exploring other things, and the children need to make some decisions, some silly mistakes, so that they can learn from them. All right. Stop and map the mismatch. Take a first inventory. Like, what are these repeated things that this child is having? What are the conflicts they are having? Who typically initiates these things that they're going through? What are their triggers, right? So track if need be and find out where the problem is, where the mismatch is. The second thing, name the stage and name the stage and own your own part. Own your part in this whole thing. Because sometimes as parents, we find that we are also enabling our children. When I talk about enabling, I mean that there is a specific behavior this child is doing that you know is wrong, but because you want to be a parent, oh, I don't want my child to feel left alone, you keep on enabling, either financially, either by not clearly stating boundaries, either by not saying no properly. You keep on enabling this child. So name it and then own your part. Apologize if you need to apologize, and then step back. All right. Where is this child stuck? Acknowledge how your actions has fed this child. All right. Tell the child, I realize when you need this, I step up quickly, and this might probably be giving you very wrong indication on how the future looks like. Because remember, parents, you're not going to be here forever. You are passing by. This child They need to grow. They need to survive without you. It's not a nice thing to hear as a parent, but it's the truth. They need to live without you there, right? So prepare them for that future without you in it. Prepare them, right? Now, and also the other thing is now shift from fixing. You're not Bob the builder or Barbara the builder. Stop fixing every problem that your child comes with. Now, the impulses that they bring, that the thing you feel like you just want to do impulse things regarding your child. Maybe now you start with the coaching questions. Now the coaching again comes in here. What do you need? What have you tried? So before I give you what you need, what have you tried? All right. How did this work out? When you tried this approach, did it work out? Okay, what else do you think can work out? All right. And how can I support? Not how can I fix? How can I support you while you're trying this? Parent, this is going to create space for competence building in these children. All right. And always renegotiate roles and boundaries. Hold your space, hold your boundaries, hold your line. Even if you feel affectionate towards this child, again, ask yourself, am I doing this to make myself feel better? Or am I doing this to help this child be more competent or confident in every decision that they need to make? All right. Then teach your children transferable skill. Teach them skill that you can transfer. I like the Asian community for one thing. It's like the family business always runs in the family. They don't shy off, like if the father is a businessman or a small business person, they don't shy off from teaching their children the same skill, and to their children's children. And I admire that about them. But for us, if I'm a teacher, I'm just a mere teacher, I want my child to be better than me. What if this child is supposed to take over your business? This child actually has your talent, has your gifts that you share, because genetically they share something from you, so they might be taking after you, but you're trying to push them. Oh, I want them to have a better life. I want this. It's good to want better for your children, but also try and see where is my child best gifted? Where are they gifted? What can I help? Can I teach? Is there a skill that I can transfer? Even if they don't use it now for making money or something, but is there something that they are willing I can teach them so that I can transfer this skill to them? All right. And it can be even as simple as budgeting, cooking, your place of work, whatever it is, just coach. Don't take over, coach. Okay. Now, repair. There's always going to be rupture, but always remember, as much as rupture is there, there's always repair. Repair is now we sit down and we talk. I did this must have made you feel like this, like this. Okay, well, how do we move forwards from this? Instead of holding, I know parents who hold grudges with their children, they don't speak to them for ages. It's not fair. You are the grown-up in this relationship, so behave like one. Reach out if a child has wronged you. Reach out if you're the one who's wronged the child, and make amends, because you don't know what tomorrow holds. You don't know what tomorrow holds. And also we also teach them about Christ-like character. We have to emulate that for them. And the last one, please seek help. Seek outside help when you need. If your child is having drug and substance issue abuse and you need to talk to them, please seek professional help. Don't take your children to your relatives or people who are going to condemn them and start thinking of those, those weird things that, someone said this, or this discusses from the family, or something, someone dad did this and that. Help children in a professional manner so that they can get supported. All right. And if you ever find yourself doing something that you're not sure, stop, pause, ask yourself, why am I doing this? All right. Now, families will always evolve only when parents update their relationship style. It is changing. What worked at 6 years old and worked at 12 years old might not work at 10, 16, or 20 years old. All right. So move from controlling to coaching. Be deliberate with your kindness. All right. So as you release the child to grow, also you as a parent, you must grow. Thank you, Miriam. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anisha, for telling us that, yes, there are signs of that can be able to show us that we are stuck, and what we need to be able to do about it. We need to be able to grow both as we are raising these children. Now over to Dr. Teo. Having seen that there is possibility of both the parents and the child to get stuck at this point in time. And one characteristic of this particular phase is fear, because the parent is fearful of releasing the child, and the child is fearful because they don't know what the future holds for them, even as they move out to go to live alone. Okay? So this happens when the children are in this particular phase together with the parents. So how or what grace-based principles can assist both the parents and the children to move forward in this particular phase? Over to you, Dr.
Thank you so much, Miriam. And this is so emotional that one time, I think when I was heading education, after the sermon, one member approached me and asked me like, yes, I have all that it takes, but I'm not happy about what is happening with my children. They're just here. They eat. Not that they are responsible. They are very responsible. They come to church here. We are at home with them. And but I don't see them indicating anything. So for me to answer this question is we need first to get the source of darkness for the parents, the source of darkness for the children. Then how can parents overcome this darkness? How can the children overcome this darkness? And for this to happen, it is not performance driven, but it is grace based. If I'm able to do that, I could have answered my question. Let me begin with the first aspect that I talked about. What could be the sources of darkness for the parents? One is the identity vacuum, which is commonly regarded as the emptiness syndrome. Parents whose entire identity, daily purpose, and marriage was built around managing their children, they freeze up because they do not know who are they with without someone to control or fix to take care of them. In a way that makes them stuck, especially for the girl child. The second one is the guilt-driven rescue loop, where past parenting mistakes or neglects cause parents to overcompensate. They get stuck in that loop of perpetual enabling out of the subconscious desire to make up for their past. I really pray very hard so that I don't become a victim in this one. But I'm deliberate and I've tried to overcome it. The second one is the fear of the public sphere. We belong to society. We are Seventh-day Adventists. You see, you want to imagine that you have brought your child from day one to church, but the child, whatever is displaying out there, is not that good enough. So you fear that if I release, everyone will know what is happening. That lack of spiritual stamina causes parents to project their own anxieties into the world by feeling so hostile, dangerous for that verbal child to handle. The fourth cause of stuckness is the parental triangulation. When parents lack a united front, one parent becomes stuck in the enabling pattern to protect the child from the other parent, who is regarded like having harsh boundaries and fracturing the home. So there are four sources of darkness for the parents. I've talked about the empty nest syndrome, the guilt-driven rescue loop, the fear of the public sphere, and the parental triangulation. What about for the child? especially, allow me now, I divide the child into two: responsible children and irresponsible children. Because this is a reality. Nobody wishes to have an irresponsible child, but it happens. For the responsible child, they are usually, the stuckness happens because they are paralyzed by fear. There's a way we have brought our children, and our children, they have that comfort being in their home, and they suffer from what I call perfectionism trap. Irresponsible children will always breathe or wish to please their parents. They fear in making mistakes in the public sphere and to disappoint the family because they want to continue with the good child identity. Recently, my girl was telling me that then it's like my being home is coming over reliance on the internal management by the parents. When our children, responsible parents, become too independent to us, whereby you are always bringing a strategic advisor, they like the confidence to trust their own internal value, which they need to have in their life closely. So when madam listens to this, she's a victim here, especially in assisting my daughter in choosing what to wear. Recently, we had a conversation where she was saying, like, I saw and so and so. They have some specific people where they purchase their clothes. I saw and so and so having very nice dresses, ma'am. Did you pass by there? And did you book anything for yourself and me? And that is a working class. Which means when she saw the status of whoever, that whoever was a call away, but he wants the mother to do. But we had a conversation about it. Then the next one is the fear of risk of failure. Because their parents have been like assisting them. So they feel that whatever they want to make, because they're inexperienced, it is likely to fail. What about the source of stuckness for the responsible child? And I want you to take the irresponsible child to be the epitome of that prodigal son. The children, especially, they become stuck in a destructive behavior because the parents are continually releasing or enabling them in terms of finances and material resources. I remember one time my mom told me, excuse me, John, I'm not happy about what you're doing, but I wish if you want to steal from me. If you have to steal. And of course, as a child, that is a password for the enabling behavior. What is this that we can do to distinguish, and Anisha put it so well, to distinguish between rescuing and assisting our children to see the need for change? The second one is the rebellion mindset that makes them to continue or getting stuck. They don't want to go away from home. They are earning away there. Sometimes they look, you see, depending on the relationship that you've been having with the child. This is, we say, sometimes an irresponsible child is a symptom of a dysfunctional family. It's like repairing and speaking to you. I'm what I am because of you. And I shared with you this without fear of contradiction or backlash. A 68 daughter, who is my sister, having an issue with my mother because she feels the mother was more pious to the boys. Remembering that my mother was coming from a brotherless family and my dad was coming from a sisterless family. So naturally, these two parents had affinity to the children, the sex or the gender of the children that they missed. Then my question I was asking my sister, 68 years old, and you left home at the age of 25. What is this that my mother didn't do? You can do it yourself. You are now a grandmother. So that happens very often. Then the last thing that makes them get stuck is learned helplessness. When they realize they are messed and they are facing the consequences, they remain broken, irresponsible, and chaotic long enough, the parents will eventually drop their boundaries, step in and rearrange for them. We give up and we give in. Because especially mother, they will say, hata tukimwacha au wawe huko nje, tutafanya nini baba? Now, how do we overcome this? Parents, the first thing that you need to do for both the children, both the responsible and irresponsible, is how I wish you recognize that you need to release your child, irrespective of their behavior. Because your own anxieties is making you getting stuck. Please, as I said, there are 4 types of release. Maybe for the other one, because he mistaken and misuse resources, you can deny them the release of resources, but release them emotionally, release them to the outcome of their behavior, release them. Then, for those who are responsible, please have a structured launching. And for those who are responsible, good friends, can you enforce consultant boundaries? Let your child know what they're doing is not right, and at the right time, the broader concern moment will come, and they will come back to you. Please never be in the steering wheel. No. Remember, even in the driving school, especially those who train the driving early years, this manual driving, the experienced driver was on the passenger seat. Who was on the wheel, steering wheel, is the learner. How I wish we could use that imagery to overcome this darkness. Then coming to the children, how I wish the children can shift fear to autonomy. The other children must accept that discomfort, temporal discomfort from their home is mandatory. That is the price of maturity, and a true character development cannot happen under perpetual parent surveillance. Never, that can't happen. How I wish our children can activate self-driven movement. How I wish our children will trust their internal value and only seek guidance from their parents. And for the young men who are here, mama's boys, mama atasema, mama has approved. You can be a source of conflict for your family because you are getting stuck. Everything you are getting approval from your mother to the disappointment of your wife. And for the parents, as I said before, there is need for a united front. Both parents, you must agree on the exit strategy, and you need to normalize the pain of separation, both for the child and for yourselves. Quickly, what are these grace-based principles? The first one is unconditional acceptance, that you will be able, both you as a child and a parent, to overcome perfection trap and the aspect of anxiety. Because let me tell you, parents, we need to assure our children of love as an anchor, but not dependent on their success and failure. All along, I knew that every time my mother could find me in a mess, he could always say, I don't love what you're doing, but my son, I love you. Then I was questioning, what is this? that mama has special for me. And that brought the turning point in my life. The principle of forgiveness. Look at what the father did. The father of the prodigal son. How I wish we have that principle of forgiveness. Even the responsible child at one particular point in time, they may have messed up. I remember one time my child, when he was in St. Clair, he was found with the chewing gum. And I was told to buy the chewing gum for the whole school. I remember the children, or the number of students that time, there were 451. So you are supposed to buy the chewing gum for 451. And when I went there, I had classes in Nairobi in the afternoon. I went there to finish because I was told to reach there by 7. I stayed there. Sister told me I will be able to see you at 4. Seated there, and my daughter Rita being told to write apology letters. Apology letter 1 was not accepted. 2 up to 7. Until I reached a point, I said, Sister, can I see how I can assist her? Sister said in a very soft way, no. And the sister wanted Rita to acknowledge the error. And that was the turning point for her. And when we came together, I forgive her for the suffering that it took us. And you see, after that, we are told to correct all the wrapping the need for the chocolates. And that was what I saw, the turning point for this girl that I'm talking about. So the principle of forgiveness, the principle of empowering stewardship, whereby we shift from being managers to be the anchors for our children. Allow them to be in the steering wheel. But we can assist them as the experienced driver on how to drive the vehicle of life. The principle of faith over fear. Capitalize on the spiritual stamina that we have given our children, such that even those who have missed, the prodigal son remembered the home. And we can see he feels it is not what it be called a son, but to be a servant. But through grace, he became a son of the Father. Then the last principle is the truth. How can we involve honest reality both to our children and even for ourselves, such that we don't find a responsibility, but we can assist our children to see the need for change. And how I wish our children can also appreciate those who are responsible, appreciate that even the love that is given to the responsible ones, it is not enabling, but it is because of the grace of the parent that they are extending to their children. Thank you. Back to you. I don't know whether I've answered that question.
Yes, Dr. You have adequately answered that particular question. There was a poll that has been raised, so I hope members have responded to that particular poll. Now, over to you, Madam Anisha. Now, in this particular phase, we are moving to the children, and we realize that the children are trying to, experience life, and sometimes they get into situations that end up being mistakes. And therefore they are also faced with consequences as a result of the choices or the mistakes that they made. Some of this could mean that they're in campus, and for the ladies, they end up being pregnant, they end up having babies. Sometimes they decide to marry whenever they are not ready. Sometimes they engage in substance abuse, okay? Or even just having reckless behavior, okay? Now, how can we balance between assisting them and not necessarily enabling their bad behavior, okay? And how can we let go without letting them down as parents? Over to you, Madam Anisha.
Thank you, Miriam. That's a very hard but important question. And the dilemma I normally see is that as parents, they want to protect. But sometimes the protection that parents offer become enabling, as Daktari has really elaborated on enabling. Now, the key here is to distinguish a crisis intervention from day-to-day rescue, and to hold both accountability and compassion. All right. Now, if support that increases responsibility is help, whatever support you're giving and it is increasing responsibility for this person, for this child, now that is help. Okay. Any support that you offer that prevents natural consequences. Parents, this is not nice for us to hear, but this is what I'm saying. Any support that you help that prevents natural consequences, that is enabling. I'm going to use a very drastic example. We talked about a girl child getting pregnant. They're in campus. Worse still, they're in primary school. And then as a parent, because again, remember, some parents, if our worth as parents is based on the child's achievement and whatever it is, you find most parents are going to take this child to have an abortion. Now, the natural consequence of getting pregnant is have a child, right? That's a natural consequence. So for you coming here as a parent, coming into like, no, this child is too young, let us have an abortion. Of course, you're committing sin, and also you're enabling this child as well. Let any support that you offer increase responsibility, not prevent natural consequences. All right. How do we tell them apart? Now, crisis intervention is time limited, safety focused, and aims at restoring capacity. Now, when you talk about crisis, we are talking about something that there's urgent risk, there's threat to life. I'm talking about there is severe harm, homelessness, or loss of basic functioning, right? So for children, for our young adult children who are engaged in probably risky behaviors, like the self-harming, there is there's a threat to life. That needs crisis intervention immediately. Okay. Now, enabling, on the other hand, is an ongoing reduced consequences, and you keep on preserving the problematic pattern. It's very important for us to understand as parents that there is a pattern that our children already established. We can see it, but sometimes we are blinded. We are blinded because of our own parenting issues. We are blinded because we think our children are angels, or we are blinded because we just don't want to see the truth. I don't know, but we understand ourselves why we are not seeing things that we need to see with the open eye. So when you're enabling, you constantly, I'm talking about your child is recurring debts that they can't even explain to you where it has come from, or they're constantly taking loans, taking money, they owe people money, and you don't know what they're doing with this money. And you keep on covering up for that. All right? You keep on covering the mistake, especially substance-related mistakes. I know parents who would, if they're told their child has taken something stolen, and maybe this child is not a thief, they're never born as thieves, but now they're into substance abuse and they need some money to even just quench that thirst, to get high a little bit. They will take something, which end up being now a problem. But then the parent keep on covering their mistake. You're repeatedly bailing them out of every consequence that they're supposed to face. You are enabling. The quickest test that as parents that we can have, I know this is going to make you like try and you have to be human, you have to be a parent, but also you have to make sure that I need this child to be able to make proper decision. I need this child to know that I am supportive, but I don't tolerate, I don't accept their behavior, but I want them to change. So the quickest test that you can have as a parent is ask yourself, this action that I'm doing, the action that I'm planning to do, will it help this child regain control and learn? Or will it keep them stuck? Will it help them learn, regain control and learn? Or will it keep them stuck? Now, if whatever you do restores capacity, if whatever you decide to do with your child is going to restore this child's capacity, then there is your intervention. You've done well. All right? If whatever you do restores this child's capacity, either to learn, to be responsible, to be just to be able to get somewhere with life, you are doing intervention. Now, if whatever action you decide to do, it preserves dependency, like they have to keep on depending on you as a parent, or dad is going to bail me out, or they're not to, then you are enabling this child, you're enabling this adult child. Step by step, what are we going to do? The grace-based approach. First of all, assess immediate safety and functioning. As I said, crisis intervention is time limited. You stay, it's about, there's urgent risk, there's threats to life, there is severe harm. So assess immediate safety and functioning. Is anyone in danger, immediate danger? Is this child breathing? Are their basic needs met? Food, clothes, shelter, medical care. Prioritize those safety needs first. You need to call emergency services. Do you need to arrange for a shelter? Do you need to get a rehabilitation services? Please call. Don't be embarrassed. Don't think of what people will say about you. We have a life. This is a crisis. It needs an intervention. Assess immediate safety and functioning. What needs to be done? If your child is calling you, they're not eaten for 3 days, don't start giving lectures. Don't start asking where that money came from. Of course, if you're 100% sure this child needs this money to food, if it's basic need, please let it be met. Okay. Number 2, pause and name the roles and limits. So calmly, you can state to your child that I will keep you safe during this crisis, all right? But I cannot take over for you long term. You can't do that. It's hard, but you can do it, because what we need you to do is to state clear limits, and then you're going to reduce confusion and resentment. So this child knows my dad or my mom will pay for my rent for this specific period of time. Then from there on, I need to do something else. Or even if dad and mom is supporting me through this, they can only reach this much. Then the other much, I need to find ways to do it. I know of children who will literally tell you to your face, my dad will do this for me even if you don't, because they're 100% sure dad will show up, mom will show up. So they don't see the reason to actually work or even try and sweat for something that they need. No, why should they? And dad is there, mom is there providing. So please name roles and limits. Boundaries. They start from young, they still continue even in adulthood. Apply short-term specific help. Short-term specific help, because we need this child to be independent. We need this child to live a life without me in it. So just as we do SMART goals, let your crisis help be specific, measurable, and time limited. All right. If you need to arrange for a temporary shelter, please do so. Accommodation, please do so. They're still your child. They're still your children. Provide transport to a medical facility if they need. Accompany them. Be there. Show them support. Be there physically if you need to be. But then outline the next step. What needs to be done, and then link help to a plan and accountability. Let there be accountability, even if it's a friend of theirs they understand well, or a relative whom you feel can get through to them. Please link somebody. Don't die alone. Don't carry this thing alone. It's not easy. It's not easy parenting an adult child who's probably stuck or who's having issues. Ask for help. All right. Always ask for help, and continue maintaining loving boundaries, but make sure the natural consequences that need to take place there, please let them continue. As long as there is no risk to life, let the natural consequences take place. Support them through it. Be with them there. Love them, but have boundaries with your love, all right? And also protect your resources and well-being. You're going to bend backwards for this child. You're going to do everything for this child. But at the end of the day, parents, these kids are going to probably, by God's grace, they're going to do well. They're going to live. They're going to leave you alone. They're going to you'll be seeing them once a year, if you're lucky, right? And don't live your life regretting and wishing they come back, and then being actually resenting their spouses because now they no longer come to visit you, which some of us, we find our parents suffering now because they don't see as often as they wanted. Yet our parents, they poured into us a lot of resources, a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of love, and now they can't have it back because they're expecting it back. So don't do that expecting it in return. Have your own life, protect your own resources and your own well-being. Your child would live. They will forget about you. You can't because you're a parent, but them, they'll forget about you. So please make sure you have your life going on well. All right. Then again, always remember, for help, you need help. If you need help, please find it. The three things I want you to understand: safety rule. If it's an emergency, please get immediate help. This is not, we are talking about someone's life, get immediate help. Don't wait. Number two, the learning rule. Long-term help must develop skills, not dependence. Make sure your adult child is developing skills, not dependence. The boundary phrase, I love you, I can help you with X for Y time, and I will step back if Z continues. Please have love, but with boundaries. Now, helping without enabling means being courageous enough to set boundaries. Parents, be courageous. Don't be afraid of your children. Set enough boundaries with them. Be kind enough to offer real help, and be wise enough to let natural consequences teach responsibility. Now, that balances, preserves both their dignity and your well-being as a parent. Back to you, Miriam.
Thank you so much, Anisha, for explaining those aspects to us. Now I'm going to give Daktari only 5 minutes, and 5 minutes so that you can just recap for us the different stages of the adult child, because you're aware that they are not at the same level. We have those who are 18 to 25 or 29, and then we have the young adults, and then we also have the middle adults, and then integrate that with the different roles of the parent. So I'm just going to give you 5 minutes to be able to do that. And when I say the different roles of the parent, we are looking at advisor, consultant, and the counselor, so that you can be able to move to the next one. Over to you, Dr.
Thank you, Miriam. That means by 15 I'm done. I will dare to that. Yeah, we must understand that the adult children is not a single group. They span through distinctive developmental lifespan. We have the emerging adults. These are the people who have just finished high school, joining campus, and this is their college era. And this group is usually described by finding themselves in between identity. They are adults because, of course, physically they're adults, and they can do everything an adult can do, but they're depending on the parents in terms of financial assistance. And especially with the current generation, this is the very first time that they want to stay away from the parents and away from the other significant others. And some of them explore, and some of the exploration leads them to engage in some of the risk behaviors. And in terms of role, this is where dominantly we are strategic advisors. We offer reliable and judgmental sounding board for the career planning and, of course, the aspect of academic learning, although we don't dictate their choices. Instead, we guide. And that does not mean counseling and the consultants doesn't come in, but dominantly. I'm talking about dominantly. And this is especially for the responsible child. But for the irresponsible child, as we correctly put it, this one requires a silent consultant, where you enforce strict boundaries, then trying to avoid rescuing, but trying to make them reach what we call the family phase, such that they can see the need for change. Then the second age, we call them the young adults, from the age of 25, although some of them go up to age of 29. All 30, because we have late maturers, and with the current situation where children don't get the job, so it is not stuck on stone. So these young adults, age of 26 to around 39, this is the phase we call the career and early marriage era. This is an era that Erik Erikson talked about intimacy, which is an ego strength, isolation, which is ego weakness. So this is where the young people are trying to balance their career or launching their career, balance their career, managing the challenges that come with early marriages. And of course, in terms of your major role here, you are more of a counselor, supportive counselor. A supportive counselor in the sense, because for the responsible child, he knows what he needs to do. Your work is to be facilitate, is to aid, is to support them. In fact, the word counseling, or the word comes from the word throne. Throne is like a chair where somebody, when I'm sitting on the chair, I believe that the chair will hold my weight. And that is the role that we are playing here. Although for the responsible child, this is where you become an healing counselor. Not the supportive. Supportive is there to support. Healing, because they have gone through a lot. And this one requires what we call empathy and active listening. And this is the way you will reach out for that responsible child. Let me tell you, nobody, no child wants to engage in a behavior to become responsible. They begin, and when they found them the mess, sometimes it's so difficult to come out of it. But the moment they realize the parents can support them to come out of it, they are very cooperative. Then we come, if you are lucky enough, like today, in the graduation that I attended, I was attending a graduation of somebody who is 40 years old, the mother is 69, and the grandmother is 99. If you are lucky enough that you are 40 to 60 and your parents are living, this is the kind of relationship that we are talking about. If you are 40 to 60, we talk about Eric Erickson call it general activity versus stagnation. General activity as a strength, this is the time you want to develop yourself, you want to be better, you want promotions, but the reverse, you stagnate. And this is where the consultant dominantly, and I'm not saying advising can't come in, counseling does, but dominantly, the kind of relationship you have with your parents is more of consultancy. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think I've reached my 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Daktari, for elaborating and integrating the different life stages of the adult child, and also what is expected and what role the parents have. Now, looking at different scenario, we are looking at those households that are not necessarily having both parents. They could be single parents, either by choice, or we are looking at those households that may be in a blended kind of situations. Now, these ones also would have adult children, and they face unique challenges. Okay. Now, I would like Madam Anisha to tell us how these parents and their adult children can be able to navigate the developmental tasks required in this particular stage. Over to you, Madam Anisha.
Thank you, Miriam. This is a very vital topic. There's a lot of transition that blended family actually face, and these are changing roles, loyalty, household rules, because attachments. And from my work as a psychologist, what I've seen work is the successful navigation normally rests on clarity, rests on the connection that this family has, and also on the compassionate flexibility that they can have together. Now, the challenges, first of all, that the core challenges that they normally have, this kind of family, is that the ambiguous roles and loyalties. So children and adults may feel torn between parents or unsure where they belong. I'm talking about this parent, this is a blended family, this is maybe a single household family. Something has shifted. It's no longer, because as children, they are always taught that a family, a nuclear family, is father, mother, children. And then all of a sudden, you're no longer my father, someone else is my father, or someone is, there's a lot of roles that are changing. And children do normally feel torn between. They don't know, they're not sure where they belong. And every time family disengaged, like when family is separated or a new family is arising, the children normally, whether they're old or young, they experience repeated loss. And there's always re-grieving. You're grieving again. So with each separation, with each remarriage, or any household moves, there's always bound to have the children or the people within that family, they're bound to have grief issues. They always have bound to have attachment worries. That is inevitable. It has to be there. Another challenge that I find this kind of family having is the different parenting styles and expectations. So maybe they come from this family where we do things certain way, but now the new family, things are not done the way we used to do it. We have to change. We have to adapt to the new changes. And with new partners, they bring more new values, different boundaries, and this may start conflict within the family itself, right? And you'll find maybe this parent is siding with her children, that parent siding with his children, and the children themselves are also might take sides and start having a lot of challenges within. Then the other challenge that in my work I've noticed is boundary confusion and inconsistent rules. So some parents try to be lenient so that they can win over the children from the other spouse. They're either too strict or too lenient. So the rules are inconsistent. So mixed out rules produce tension and it kind of undermine trust. So some children might look at maybe the new man and like, you're not my father, you don't have anything to tell me. And the woman is trying to salvage this relationship, trying to make the new husband to be in a good relationship with her children. And especially if they're adult children, it's a bit complicated. You understand that. Then the other thing I've seen is a lot of stressors, and there is financial constraint, there is divided time, and just complicated family logistics. Everything just changes. The dynamics just changes, and this is some of the issues that I've seen with this kind of families. Now, what are some of the principles for healthy navigation because at the end of the day, these families are bound to be there. We have them, they're there. We can't stop them, we can't change, it's there, right? So the first thing that I would encourage parents to do, those who are in this kind of family, is prioritize the relationship repair over being right, all right? We talked a while back with Dr. Oteyo about connection is the key. Remember connection, guys. Whatever happens, repair, repair, repair. Connect before you correct. Always prioritize relationship repair over being right. I mean that if something is wrong, but someone has been hurt, there is an emotion, there's someone's emotions has been really walked over, a rupture has happened, please repair, please connect. The other healthy principle that can help us navigate in this family setup is normalize grief and complexity. Remember, loss it has happened, it's inevitable, and it's real. So name it to tame it. Name those emotions that are there. Name if someone is feeling ashamed. Name if someone's feeling isolated, and please be there and support. Hold safety and be consistent. If there can be some consistent routines, like for example, if maybe your spouse, the other the parent or the father or mother or your children, you no longer have a good relationship, please don't spill it over to the children. Let the children continue having their attachment with their parent, because even though the two of you are no longer married, the children still have a relationship with the two of you. That person is still their father, this person is still their mother. And the biggest challenge I think I've come across in my field is whereby one of the parent is trying to use the children as a leverage, or they're using the children, they can now weaponize the children so that the other spouse has to do 1, 2, 3 before they can access the children. I think that is very wrong, because at the end of the day, the problem was between the two of you as spouses, as exes, whatever. It had nothing to do with the children, right? So dragging the children in the middle, I think that is what really, really, really messes up a lot of things. I believe that it's the way that people handle divorce and separation that actually destroy children. It's not the divorce itself that destroys children. It's how it's handled between these two parents. Okay, the step that we need to do, start with an honest family map. Draw who lives where. Be open. Give the caregiving responsibility. Let there be a pattern. Let there be contact. We know we are talking to so and so on a certain day. I'm going to do this. Be practical and clarify if there's any misunderstanding. Communicate clearly your roles and boundaries. Please communicate. If there is a problem with finance, there's a problem with discipline, there's a problem with visiting, please communicate, especially with the adult children. They are very good. I think at the time Dr. told us about how a child can manipulate, can triangulate. That was the word, triangulate you as parents and make you be the bad one as they are benefiting from the other one. Please put your issues aside and you are co-parenting, right? So communicate with each other what's happening so that these children do not triangulate you. I'm talking about finances, discipline, visitation. Be open about it and build predictable rituals if possible with them. All right. Whatever you used to do, if possible, try and find what works. Again, we're also changing with times. Try and find what is working for you. And then separate task from attachment. Do not make a child feel like they have to do this to gain this from you as a parent. Your love is unconditional. Whether they're speaking to the other parent or not, whether they are doing one ABCD to the parent or not, your love towards them should be unconditional. All right. Don't make them choose sides. Don't make a child choose sides, kindly. And if you want to support without looking upon what the other parent is doing. Especially, I'm talking about these parents who are not together. They are blended or they are exes or they are divorced or separated, whatever. If you want to help your child. But have a ground whereby you can talk openly about your child because it's about them, not about the two of you. All right. And always try and be fair when it comes to conflict resolution. Be fair, not winning. It's not about winning, it's about being fair. So if possible, just try and be fair. Again, seek support when you feel overwhelmed. Seek support outside, seek support through professionals. Find out what you can do to help you also gain, because at that particular moment, you're no longer parenting this child how you used to, where you used to be together. Things are now different. Seek support. Co-parenting, counseling are there. There are support groups for blended families. They are there. They help you repair attachment. They help you work on your own issues so that you don't bleed on people who never hurt you. And apparently, unfortunately, the people we bleed around so much are our children, especially if you have issues with their parent, with their father or the other spouse. Okay. So clarity is very important. It's good to clarify things if things are not working. If some people can even go to legal measures to make sure things are working well, but for older children, these adult children, I don't think there's so much that the law can do about it unless it comes to now issues with your estates and inheritance and stuff like that. But during this period where you're trying to help them navigate their own life, it's just good to have clarity from both parents, especially with blended and non-intact families. All right. So non-intact families can thrive when adults deliberately create safety. Blended families can thrive when adults deliberately create safety. They speak openly about loss and build new rituals while honoring the old ties. We must honor those ties. All right. And it can be done. It's not impossible. It's hard, but it can be done. Back to you, Miriam.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Anisha, for that explanation. And it's very clear that it is able, the parents are able, those who are in these situations, blended families or single parents, they can be able to do this. Now, moving to children, and we want Daktari to tell us in 5 minutes, how can children, adult children, live independently and harmoniously with their parents? How can these adult children live independently and harmoniously with their parents?
Okay, thank you, Miriam. You could hear me now? Hello,
Yes,
Miriam?
yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much. True that harmony is a two-way traffic. Other children must understand the biblical mandate to honor their father and their mother. And that does not expire at the age of 18 or when they get college degree. I remember my mom used to tell us that you're going to be a professor, but your professorship is neither here or there. So, in other words, what we are saying is other children must practice active honor. That means proactively keeping their parents informed of their major milestones out of respect, expressing genuine gratitude for their historical sacrifices, and listening to their wisdom politely, even if you ultimately want to choose a different direction. Again, another thing is adult children should not demand absolute adult autonomy while they are enjoying certain privileges from their parents, like staying together with their parents assisting them financially. So they need to, as much as they want to live independently and harmoniously, they need to look at themselves, what is the current reality? So I have to say that three aspects or three things that these children need to do or to aim at for them to harmoniously and independently live with their parents. First, they need to shift from forced interference of their parents to autonomous ownership. It's very common, especially in college life, the children, they do a lot of bad things away from the parents. I've seen where our children go to campus, they cohabit, they do all the bad things, but when they come home, they are angels. How I wish that they begin having that autonomous ownership of their behavior and the outcome of that behavior, whether the parents is seeing them or the parents are not seeing them. That's the first thing that I need, or I wish our other children aspire to have. They need to own up the prize of free will. Because if they demand the freedom to make their own choices, they must also willingly accept 100% of financial, legal, and relational consequences without expecting rescue from parents. Then the next thing is they need to respect their parents' posture and boundary. What do I mean? If you have acted responsibly, do not demand that your parent to act as a strategic advisor or fund your consequences. Expect and respect their right to be silent consultants. Not that they do not love you, but they do love you. They may have shared, and this is where it requires you to look back and see, where did the rain begin beating you? Such that you reflect yourself like the prodigal son and you come back. And let me tell you, and most of the time, no parent will not accept their children back. I know fathers, sometimes they can be rigid, they can be hard to bring you back, but I wish the fathers in the house to behave like the prodigal son. The mothers in the house, you have the power. If you say it's so difficult to accept the return back, how I wish the mother to be the pouncing board for this son, and by extension to bring the father in, and you'll be able to assist the responsible child. And the next last thing, as I lap it in the 5 minutes that you talked about, is you as a young adult, you need to move from entitlement to shared stewardship. I've seen which is so sad, where there is a parental exchange between the son and daughter, mi sikukutuma unisae. I need it. Oh my goodness. And sometimes because we want to avoid shame, we give in. How I wish it be shameful to me, because you're already shame. So how I wish parents will need to put our boundaries and our children to recognize that the parental resources, whether it is money, whether it is housing, it is a privilege. I remember I attended one of the functions where Professor Karega Mudai, the former PS, we were learning together, or we were teaching together with his son, right now he's in Italy, where I remember the dad, because the dad taught me linguistics in the university. The dad said, I've been telling my children all the things, including cockroaches, they belong to me. I remember the first car Karega Mudai, that is Karega Mushiri owned, it was a donation from the father, and he was supposed to return it back when he bought his, I remember. How I wish we can put those boundaries that it is a privilege and our children will learn that. How I wish that our children and ourselves, we can engage in a mature dialogue, such that there is a transition in relationship from a child to a manager dynamic into an adult dynamic. We initiate conversations by asking high-level perspective rather than demanding structural rescue, especially for those who are responsible. So basically, Emilium and the audience, 3 things. The first one, we have talked about shift from escape learning to autonomous ownership of your behavior, respecting the parents' boundaries, and lastly, moving from entitlement to shared stewardship. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Daktari, for telling us what roles the adult child needs to be able to play. Now, quickly to Anisha, as a play therapist, a child play therapist. Now, does this stage entail only serious business, or we can put in some laughter, some play? Isikai serious sana. What do you think, Anisha?
Thank you, Miriam. And I'm wondering, I play with an adult, an adult child. How does that even look like? So it's not about putting toys. Again, remember I said earlier in our first initial sessions that it's not so much about toys, but it's about having a playful, and you can also be humorous, all right? So parenting adult children doesn't have to be all seriousness, all strain, yeah. So from my work as a play therapist and as a mother, I've seen humor and playfulness as used as very powerful tools in building relationship, in easing tension, in rebuilding connection, modeling healthy coping behaviors. Even when you go for seminars, you always have an icebreaker, right? We all do have icebreakers. There's some activities that happen and we find that it just releases a lot of tension. I'm not saying play with your child, but be easy. Sikuwe strict sana ile you're like, when your child comes to see you, it's like they've gone to the principal, the deputy principal, disciplinarian office. Yeah. So you can be humorous, right? You can use that as a tool, as I said. For men, I find they like a lot of rough and tumble. I've seen older men, they have a way they knock each other's on the chest. I don't, it's a playful way, but it's just serves connection. It's a subtle. It's like they're pimbering their strength, but it's something playful. You can start with that. Now, the reason why humor and play matter with adult children is because it reduces the physiological stress. And we all know Daktari here can tell us what laughter does to our body. Laughter lowers tension and makes difficult topics easier to approach. People who've used humor to bring very hard topics find it easier for people to engage back with them. because they've used laughter. They've said something, they've cracked a joke, they've laughed, and you can use that too. If you use it at work, what makes you think it will not work with your children? So it will work, all right? And another reason why humor also matters is that, or play, let's suit it, it's reestablish connection after conflict. So there's been a conflict. A light moment can reopen lines of communication, especially where words fail, where hearts have been hurt. So it can reestablish conflict. And it also models resiliency, because when you're being playful or humorous with your child, it shows us mistakes aren't catastrophic, honestly. They are part and parcel of learning. So you as a parent, right? The problem now comes in when you're trying to be a perfectionist. Your perfectionism gets in the way, because when you're trying to be a perfectionist, you make the child become very anxious around you because you're hypercritical, extremely hypercritical, and you don't tolerate normal mistakes, right? Because you're very strict and very stern, yeah. So normal mistakes, you find that you're very critical. So the adult children are very cautious when they approach you with any issue. They're very cautious, or you find that they kind of either hide some things that they need to tell you, or they intentionally leave out some information because they're afraid of how you're going to react. All right. And when you're very strict and you're constantly looking for perfectionism, the shift focus to performance, as we talked about earlier, performance, grades, appearances, job, opportunities, nini. So instead of focusing on relationship, the child now is focusing on performance. What do I do to make sure this man or my parents are proud of me? No practical way that you can now bring these adult children. Just start small. Give them a light note. You can share a joke. You can share a joke or ask something. For those ones who are some of our parents who are a bit on the digital part, you're a bit knowledgeable. Share something you saw. Ask them about it. They'll give you information, and say something that is not correct, that you know that you don't know, and invite them, and they're going to talk to you about it. Use playful experiment for transition. So you can also play games with them. They have board games, you have cards. Men actually are very good at playing cards. You can watch soccer with them. World Cup, whatever it is that they like doing, you can do it with them. Ladies, there's a lot of things you can do when you're cooking. Be playful with them, joke kidogo, but not those jokes that are attacking their personality or attack them as people, but make some fun moment with them. Okay, so you don't have to do so much with this age. It's about just the connection. All right, just remember to keep the human, be compassionate. And at this point, please avoid sarcasm or jokes that shame, because the goal here is to connect, not to belittle. I think some parents, when they have something they want to tell these adult children, and it's something they don't want to talk about directly, they bring it in as a criticism, or as a very nasty joke. Our parents did that to us. We don't need to we don't need to repeat that to our children. All right. Now, playfulness is not avoidance, it's connection. All right. And when you keep on being a perfectionist, you are going to shut down learning, and you can only re-engage when you open up and you're humorous about it. Now, there's not so much to do about this age, Miriam, because they can only invite you as much as they want to invite you. So always make sure you follow their cue. If you find that you're pushing too much, please step back and always refer, confirm, ask, clarify. All right. So parenting adult children just need courage, needs clarity, and a good dose of humor. All right. So just let go of being a perfectionist, invite play, create just that safe space for your child to grow, create that safe place for you for repair and just for lasting connection. That's all. There's not so much to say about that, Miriam. But back to you.
Thank you, Anisha. I almost thought that we are playing toys at this age. I wanted to go and look for my mother. We play Kati. All right. So thank you for thank you for
Alright.
clarifying that. Okay, so we are going to the next three sets of questions are very sensitive questions, and they tend to bother quite a number of us. So the first one that is going to Dr. Teo, we are looking at these parents who have these adult children, and they always have a goal for them. And they feel that if they are not married by this age, they are already in distress. How can we be able to help these parents, or what counsel can you be able to give these parents to just live at the moment? Live at the moment, cease from being so much of a pressure of my child has not married, my child has not settled down, and just enjoy the moment with their adult child. Over to you, Daktari.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Miriam. This is a very pervasive source of distress, even in a few members of our church and even the community. Myself, I'm almost here. But as correctly put by Anisha, is connect. And then that connect happens. How I wish we have the courage and the clarity and the consistency packaged in the humor, we can be able to reach our children. I remember when my daughter joined campus, she was the second year, and we had a conversation, and I asked her a very serious question. Do you have a boyfriend? She ran away from me and went to tell the mom, he counseling him, baba yangu. What is that question he's asking me? Then, of course, the mom said, like, but he's asking you a genuine question. Then we had a sit down, I remember at that time, and I said, at this age, you're beautiful. And if you tell me nobody has ever approached you, there are very many questions I need to ask about either your personality or something that you're not doing right. And I can share my testimony and give parents here is how I wish we connect to our children early, especially the adult children from the age of 18. And I'm not saying this is all workable for every parent. Let me tell you, that opening made my daughter to be very free to me, and we could share a lot of things as a dad and a mom. Because John Samson Oteyo, what is this lie that a man can tell my daughter that I do not have? I'm sorry to have a bad privilege of being on the other world before I came to the current world I am in. I'm the best source of information for my daughter. And this is what has been happening. Allow me to briefly talk about this because I'm talking about practical steps. I remember when my daughter was in fourth year, she called me that my dad, in fact, after that conversation, he told me I have a friend, just a friend. My dad, I need this amount of money because my boyfriend has been involved in a road accident. I've tried to call the parents. The parent not receiving any call. And the vehicle that is assisting us to Tenewek needs some money. So can you help me? The best I did as a father, I gave that money. The young man was rushed to Tenewek. Then my daughter was there to receive the parents, and of course left the parents. Of course, I'm not talking, that is not the current boyfriend we are talking about. When my mom was on a dying bed, he asked my daughter, excuse me, I need to see your boyfriend. And that's how free this family is, because even my mom was very free to me. Then my daughter told me I'm going to bring my boyfriend. What's the name of the boyfriend? I got the name is different from the name I knew. Then I said, what happened? I found the other one is a choker and I want to settle down. So the point I'm saying is connect. And that brings a lot of freeness with our children. I can tell you, like now recently, when I was trying to get for some registration for her, some medical report was needed. I tried to find my friend doctors. I couldn't find. The next thing I call the boyfriend that, can you get a doctor to do this for us? So that is the freeness that we are talking about. But this, I wish to tell my parents or my colleague parents who could be distressed. But remember this, I was not imposing my own values to this daughter. I appreciate our individual value, our individual identity, and completeness. And completeness is not equal to the marital status, is not equal to the career titles, is not equal to the reproductive activity. From the lesson that we did this week that ended, singlehood is empirical and valid. So, my good friends, as parents, we need grace for us to overcome this distress. How I wish we dismantle the comparison trap. How I wish my age-mate parents, how I wish we begin looking at our own children and the circumstances they find themselves without necessarily comparing ourselves with other people. How I wish our parents, especially when you have a conversation and you have a good reason why your child maybe doesn't have a friend, or you stayed all this time, because heartbreaks are real. I'm telling you. Our children have gone through heartbreaks and they may not tell you, but they are really suffering. Some of them, they have gone even to the age of suicidal ideations. How I wish you can have a conversation and you're pushing them that have not seen. Excuse me. I remember my brother one time when they had a difference with the wife. My brother married at the age of 40 something. Then he called me, he's my elder brother than myself. He called me like, Maze, Oti. Mambo ya bibi. My mom told me, I wish you told me some of these things, I could have not settled down. Because I'm looking at it like, did my brother get married because of the pressure he got from the mom? So how I wish we don't pressurize our children such that they can settle down because they want to please their mothers. And for the children who are here, we wish you great peculiarities for the adult children. Guard your autonomous space. Please don't enter to marriage simply because you want to appease the parents' anxiety or societal pressure. Everybody's getting married. I'm the only one. And then you may land because of that haste to the person who is not your type. How I wish we don't work on our parents, but we can have an empathic communication so that we understand our parents also and their anxieties, and we have a deliberate discussion about this. That is my wish, such that the parents and the children can harmonize their anxieties. For the parents, you act as an emotional grounding and a paternal risk board as we engage our children in the aspect of settling down, either independently staying away from you or settling down in terms of getting married. That's my take, and thank you, Miriam.
Yeah, thank you so much, Doctor. And I think it also stems from, the kind of relationship you've built between you and your child. For them to be able to be open and share with you all these things and the stages they are in, and that will help to relieve the pressure. All right. So thank you so much, Daktari, for that one. Now, there's also this other sensitive question. I said the last three are very sensitive questions, and we need to be able to unpack it for our parents as well as our children who are within this age. Now, there are this group of children. I don't want to say group of children. Children within this age are bound to seek fast, flexible, transactional lifestyle through transgenerational relationships. And we are going to name this transgenerational relationship as the sponsor culture. There is a lifestyle that they have at the back of their mind, and they only see that the person who will be able to fulfill this lifestyle is someone who is working or someone who is already in a relationship and that kind of a thing. And I'm bringing to this scenario the picture of the late Sharon and the ex-governor. That kind of lifestyle, that kind of thing. So how can we be able to encourage our children as parents to build a stable marital and financial foundation instead of running into this sponsor culture. And we are going to give both panelists an opportunity to speak into this. So we are going to begin by Anisha. Anisha, kindly speak into this matter.
Well, this is very sensitive. It's a very sensitive but culturally relevant issue. Now, Miriam, to me, I see sponsor culture as a symptom, not even as a cause, a root cause of what is the problem. Because to me, it's a reflection of economic pressure, insecurity, and a lot of relational confusion among our young people, especially the girls. Now, of course, this is the question on for the young people. It's about your dignity, your wisdom, and your spiritual grounding. I believe that if those three are in the right path, the right direction, then sponsor culture should not be a problem. But apparently it is. So yeah. So my observation, Miriam, my observation is this, that when the young girls talk about the sponsor culture, it's about meeting their immediate, they say needs. To me, it's more of wants, but they call them needs. So the immediate needs is money, access, and status. So there's a lot of the media again bringing out to our young people, our young girls and boys, about having a certain standard of what is, like, there's a time I talked about digital identity with some group, I think, yeah, some ambassadors, like, what is the digital identity, the online identity versus the real identity. So the digital identity is pushing our children so much that they want to have a certain lifestyle that it's not even realistic, but they want it. So they're going to go to this sponsor culture to make sure that these needs are met. To them, their needs. You can't convince them otherwise, okay? And also, it carries a lot of relational and personal costs, because when a young girl is having an affair with an older man, or an older woman is having an affair with a young man, because again, that is also common nowadays, there is a lot of power, unequal power dynamics. There is someone using, everyone is using everyone else. This young woman is using this older man for what? For meeting the needs. And this older man is using this young woman to meet his maybe needs, physical needs, that he no longer, he wants to prove something. I don't know. Now, there's a lot of emotional risk here as well. And for the young people who are here, just know that there's a lot of postponement in your personal development, because some things have to be halt. You kind of have to wait for this person to do something for you to move to the next spot, all right? And as I said, there's a lot of power dynamics. So at some point, you are going to lose as a young person who's continuing this sponsor culture. And when you talk about sponsor culture, it's both genders, male and female, old women, older ladies, older gents, same to the younger people, or vice versa. Now, my counsel to the young people here, you need to clarify your values as a person, and what are your long-term goals. So it might be, again, because of peer pressure, you want to achieve a certain lifestyle that you don't have. Maybe you're from a very humble background, your parents didn't even engage in such stuff, but you want to achieve this because you want to please your peers. You need to go and clarify your values. What are your values? What are your long-term goals? How do you want your life to look like in the next 5 to 10 years? Emotionally, financially, relationally, what is your vision? Can you have a vision filter as a young person? All right. And then you need, as a young person who's having this sponsor relationship, you need to ask yourself, can you distinguish support from dependency? Is this person supporting you, or are you depending on this person? Okay. Then if it's help, like it's a scholarship, it's a mentorship, it's an emergency fund, this is different. This is totally different. But if a relationship, if the transaction, like whatever it is that's happening, it requires you to compromise your boundary or your self-worth, then that is not help, all right? You're being dependent. You're depending on this person, right? And If financial support has to do with you losing your value as a Christian, your body is being used, emotionally you're being misused and abused. What's going on? Where's your autonomy? So it means you're treating yourself as a commodity. Is that how you're made? Are you made after the image of God, really? All right. That should be a red flag. Why are you being supported with this person? What are they getting into? What do they want in return? And some people, some of it starts off very, very subtle. They look harmless. Someone's giving you this, or you keep on complaining. And young people, let us know who we share our problems with. Whom are you sharing your problems with? Yes, maybe your parents cannot afford maybe that extra money you need for tuition or something, but whom are you sharing your problems with? You might just share, but then this person has an agenda. They see an opportunity, they run with it. So they're going to provide that what you need at what cost, right? And as young people, you must build multiple streams of support. You must build multiple streams of support. Don't just rely on your parents to help you. When we have extra ways, like before you go to college, there's all this period of time where children are just not idle per se, but there is that period where you're not doing anything. That's the time for you to you can start doing something, and you can earn some income. You can ask your parents to support you, put some money. You can always start saving as little as, and you can save, and still there's a lot of nowadays online. You can learn things online. You can find ways of getting it's called passive income, and establish yourself so that if your parents cannot afford it, have other streams of support or income that you can support yourself, so that you don't rely on people who have hidden agenda for you. All right. So for your needs, for education or for skill building, community, whatever, they even have community bursaries. Don't think it's just for the people who are poor. I one time I told a young person to go and approach the Mheshimiwa for Nakuru West was giving the bursary, and they said, no, those are for poor people. I'm like, no, it's a community, it's a, what do you call it, CDF. It's money for the community. You're supposed to use it. You can go and apply for it. Doesn't mean you're poor. Of course, if you can afford your schooling, Misawa, you can leave it for those people who don't. But don't shy off because it's for the poor people. It is your money. You're supposed to access it. So the other avenues that young people can go and look for money and be supported. We have, is it help something? Yeah. Go find those things and find it so that you don't have to compromise your dignity, so that you can get supported. All right. Invest in self-sufficiency skills. People are going back to using their hands. What can you do with your hands? What skills do you have? Are you good at making hair? Are you good at making dresses? One time, a young person gladly told me, I can't do sewing because that's for people who have not gone to school. Like, really? Why would you say that? You have a skill. If you have a skill, then use it. God has put things in your hand. Use what you have in your hand to have money, all right? Self-sufficiency skills. What skill can you get? So vocational training, don't overlook them, young people. Don't overlook vocational training. Excuse me. These small scale entrepreneurship programs that are there, get involved in them. All right. Learn about saving, learn about freelance work, get a side hustle. All right. Don't just sit and wait for your parents to do everything, because once those needs are not going to be met, of course, you're going to have empathy for your parent that they're struggling. And then you're going to look for the sponsor relationship, which is not okay. All right. And whatever you do, where is your spiritual grounding? Can your spiritual grounding be central? Okay. Make sure that whatever you do, whatever the Bible says, whatever you do it to the glory of God. All right. And parents is where we emphasize on our faith, we emphasize on dignity. Talk to your children about stewardship. Let them know about patience, how they need to trust in God's providence while they're still pursuing the practical means of provision. Let them understand that they can rely on God's providence, but not sitting down doing nothing about it. Okay. Now the counsel for parents that I have, like for this stage, for this issue of sponsorship, all right. Acknowledge that there is scarcity. Let your children know what you can provide and what you can't provide, all right, and guide them towards other alternatives that they can use to get money. All right. Provide practical support. practical support. All right. So if it's scholarship, help them apply for them. If you have someone who knows, who can maybe put them in internship, we know it, we have network with other, with your friends, with your colleagues who can actually support your child, even in skill building, in mentoring. Help them have those ones so that they bail them out. They don't just wait for you alone to do everything. And parents, let us teach financial literacy and goal setting very early early onset. I know parents who have their kids saving, they have their kid tithing, giving offerings, and the kids know that they already have the financial literacy is embedded in them at a young age. So when they're older, it's easy. Some of us, we didn't have that growing up. So we are struggling with it. So we find that we don't even know what to tell our children. But if you're able that you learned about financial literacy at an early age, please pass it on to your children. Don't think they're too young to learn about financial literacy, because the problem here is finances. That's why they can't achieve what they want. So they're going out to do something that is not okay. Okay. So use curiosity. When a child comes to you and tells something, be curious about it. Listen to what they're telling them. They're telling you why they got into that situationship. Let me call it situationship in the first place. Avoid shaming them and find other alternative way that you can help them. All right, to navigate this stage of their life very well, so that they don't lose their dignity, they don't feel ashamed, and also they know that the sponsor culture needs to stop. It is not what God wants us to do. It's a very dishonorable thing to do. Okay. And we need to equip them with skills, with mentors, and safe support so that they can flourish instead of being used and abused by sponsors. Thank you, Miriam.
Thank you so much, Anisha, for that input. We'll give Dr. Teo 3 minutes.
Thank you so much, Miriam, for the opportunity. Very exhaustively, my sister Anisha has given what I had in mind. But there's one thing that I want to concur and give input in, that this is a symptom of something. Especially there is a mental disorder as much as does not been classified in the diagnostic statistical manual that psychiatrists and psychologists use, that is DSM-5 text revised. There's what we call the FOMO, the fear of missing out. This is a syndrome that is very common with the young adults that fuels the transactional sexual relationships or lifestyles, or what we are calling the sponsor culture, whereby young people want to lead a very expensive lifestyle, which they are not, and they put it as an urgent necessity. In terms of they see their peers displaying high-end items, luxury travel, instant status online, and of course, some of these affects the young people, they affect their psychological security, and this leads them now to look at their career as a failure because they're not leading the life they could wish. And this is what brings what I call the microwave growth, instead of that slow, systematic growth that is long lasting. And this makes our young people to reach a level of learned helplessness. Some of them now resort to this sponsor thing, including young people, that including the boys, not only the girls. And some of them can join these cult-like things like Illuminati. And it is real, because currently I'm having my grandmother's family from Beatrice's side who are struggling with the luminant aspect that has almost cleared their family. And it began with a lady who I call my aunt, by reading this lifestyle. And unfortunately, she got herself in this current thing and trying to move away. We have lost 4 almost 4. No, that is, 4 family members, including herself. And even what Miriam, you have talked about, I've written 2 articles about the relations between Sharon and the Nini from the psychological perspective. And there's been well put by Anisha that there is always power in parents. And each one of us, when we do any personality test, there's what we call the TAC triad personality or psychology, where we are having that is Machiavellian, narcissistic tendencies, and psychopaths. And you see, unfortunately, young people think that by exposing these people who is who in the society, they can micromanage. Unfortunately, it awakens the TAC triad aspect of the person, and it can lead to the killing or the homicides that we are able to see. So basically, what I'm trying to say, as much as these disorders are not been classified, the fear of missing out, parents, we need to be aware of this. And as correctly put by my sister, and I want to thank this family life, I'm really getting excited about, and our church, about the financial literacy that I saw it even in our young ones, Concord, my sister, and your council. How I wish we can shift our children, whether young or old, instead of making them financial enablers, just giving them money, we make them stewards. They will be able to know that they can lead a life within their budget. And I wish we do it with a united front as parents. Not that my daughter comes, manipulates me, touches my password, I give behind the P2's back. We won't make it. And how I wish from the onset we begin making our children to recognize their gender-based strength, whether it's a boy or a girl. And I want to encourage our parents, as much as we are talking about the degrees, how I wish that check on the degree of your child. And I wish you can also look for another thing that can add to the degree that makes your child standing out. And I always say there's no degree, and I'm talking from experience, and I don't have any fear of contradiction because I'm working in the university. There is no degree that is useless. It depends, you as a parent, how strategic you can become in terms of assisting your child such that it can be outstanding. I remember I met a colleague who told me, what the hell with you? How can your daughter go to teaching? But I can broadly say I was deliberate. I'm one type who invest a lot in primary and secondary. But university, I always tell my children, I spend a lot of money in primary and in secondary. I take them to the best schools. But in university, it is you to make a decision. And when my daughter got what the degree requires, I supported her, but strategically, I had to look for another course that made her now to be is skills to be sellable in international schools, and she's doing well. So parents, please, how can we strategically assist our children, whatever course they're doing? Like now, currently, how I wish my good parents can know how marketable is special education. It is teaching. How many speech therapists do we have in this country? There are only 7 in the whole country. And I'm talking from a point of information because my first degree training is linguistics. So I'm imagining if a child goes to do special education and speech therapy, it's terrible. We are talking about the current generation of parents who recognize that even a special needs student needs to be educated. Thank you, my sister. There's so much to say. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Daktari. It is an eye opener because this is a situation that has swept away many of our children who are in this age bracket. Yeah, and how to bring them out of it is also very, very difficult. As parents, you might not agree, but you see, they are making their choices, and the choices have consequences, and we are the ones who also bear the weight of whatever happens to them later in life. So thank you so much for those comments. Now, the last question is in line with spirituality. Many of us parents find ourselves in a situation where we've raised children, we've raised them in the faith, but somewhere along the line, they end up changing. Yeah, they end up changing. I don't know what, maybe Dr. Oteyo and Anisha, you'll be able to tell us what parents feel about this, and also how can you be able to help parents be able to pass the baton of faith to the children without really pressurizing them. So I'm just going to give each 3 minutes so that we can be able to conclude. And we'll begin by Anisha, with Anisha.
Thank you, Miriam. I think for this part, we were going to have a lot of invitation for participation. So offer choice and explain meaning, don't demand compliance. This stage, they rarely comply with whatever we have. We want them to do. So invite participation. The other thing I would advise is just create mentorship, mentoring programs, come up with mentors, trusted mentors. Can they have small groups or peer-led faith projects? So again, as I said, our church is normally equipped with a lot of projects that these young people can do that keep them engaged and focused on winning soul and even on stewardship per se. And above all, I think prayer. We can never cover our children enough in prayers. We need to cover our children in prayer. At the same time, we also need to release them so that we bless their choices, but we always hold them up in prayer. As a mother, I think my biggest responsibility is to pray for my children and trust that God's work in their lives everything that God has said about their life will be brought to fruition. And when you speak, the Bible says that the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who use it, who know it, will eat its fruit. So let us claim those promises on our children's life. Let us speak, let us decree and declare blessings upon them as we continue praying for them and blessing them. Then another practical way is on practical stewardship. Hand over roles gradually with clear expectation and tell them what is required of them from an early age, so that when they grow up, the Bible says that train up a child in the way he should go, so that when he grow up, he will not part from them. I think for me, those are the main three things: prayer, inviting participation, and just creating mentorship. Thank you. Back to you, Miriam.
Thank you. Dr. Oteyo?
Thank you, Miriam. I think the major challenge that we face is what we covered in our lesson last week, the dissonance between the faith and practice. This is the age your faith as a father or as a mother must be caught, not taught. Your adult children, it's indicating unstable. Am I being heard? Miriam?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
The indicated unstable, that's why. Your adult children are no longer listening to your lectures. They are watching your life. They observe on how you handle marital conflict, how you process the health crisis, how you treat those who offend you, and whether your personal division life is genuine. If you are authentic, grace-based faith live out in your daily life, they will naturally be drawn to your spiritual heritage. When you discover that, because as I said, I got a crying moment in 2014 when I came home and I had a lot of people making noise because what happened, because I needed to go out, I left my car far from the home. So I came quietly. People were very noisy. People were very happy. Then when they had a knock and they realized it's me, everybody went to the various rooms. Then I got a shock. I didn't go even where I wanted to go. We had a sitting. That is the time I got 40. And I'm not talking, but by that time, I remember I was, in fact, is the year that I came to create church, 2014, 2015. Then I asked myself, I thought I'm doing it well. That is the time I had a transformation. That, oh my goodness. In fact, madam was calling it, your bipolar is not going to open because I'm one person who believes my melancholic, you have two. Oh, that is the time I got Saul moment to become Paul. And I'm seeing my fruits. That time my sky code was 40. Right now it's ranging around 80. I'm not yet 100. I wish our parents here, how do we kill the dissonance between your faith and practice such that we have harmony in what we say, in what we preach, in what we tell our children, and what we do? That is the solution. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Oteyo and Anisha, for those wise counsels that you have given unto us and for taking us through this particular session. Now, our participants, we are coming to the end of this particular session. I know we are way beyond our time, but we are glad that we have been able to tackle a few of the issues that affect children who are within this age bracket, and also how to be able to assist our parents to be able to raise these children. They are still under our care, not directly, but yes, they are figuring out life, but we can be able to find ways to be able to support them so that they can be able to stand fully on their own and be able to navigate life. So we are very grateful to Anisha as well as Dr. Oteyo for taking their time. They have taken about 6 weeks, okay? So these has been 6 sessions, 6 weeks of taking us through the grace-based parenting. Now, if you missed any session, we want to encourage you to go back to our recordings so that you can be able to listen to them and know how we can be able to gradually raise our children until they get to a level where they're independent, they can be able to do things in the right way. And we as parents, we can be able to have that healthy relationship with them, okay? So that we don't have to have a situation where a child is an adult, but they cannot be able to speak to their parents, or the parents cannot be able to speak to the children. But we want to have a situation where we can all sit together, we can all laugh about things, we can all, reflect in moments in life and say, okay, that was a growing moment, and, we live all happily. So we are very grateful for the panelists for taking their time to take us through this. Now, another reminder, we are having a prayer breakfast for this to culminate. This series is culminating to a prayer breakfast that is going to be held on the 2nd of August in church. And we are inviting you. There we are going to go through the application. Some of this may sound theoretical, but that is a situation where you're going to meet the panelists face to face and ask them all the questions that you need to ask, and they will also participate in different scenarios and see how we can be able to handle those different scenarios. So we are inviting each one of you to be able to participate in that as well. Now, to end this session, we are going to request Elder to close for us with a prayer. And as he prepares to close with a prayer, I just want to give 1 minute each to Anisha and Dr. Oteyo to give us their parting shot. Then Elder will be able to close with a word of prayer. We can start with Anisha. You can give us your parting shot.
Thank you so much, Miriam. Parenting is not an easy journey, but it can get better. It is possible if God leads in it. With grace-based parenting, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Oteyo.
Thank you, Madam Miriam and everybody. One way that I can put my parting shot is to answer the question that have been asked by the audience. What if The home is friendly, is good, but the church is toxic and broken. And I want to answer that question, especially the current scenarios that we have got in our Adventist church. Not necessarily create a church, it does not been easy. To the point, I reached the level of asking myself, am I in a church or a cult? And remember, born and brought up in the Seventh-day Adventist church. I want to assure the personal questions that when the human environment, like the church, is toxic and broken, there is biblical guidance that independence from human approval and systems. Galatians 1:10, it says, serving Christ means prioritizing God's approval over praising people or human institutions. And Psalms 146, 3-5, it highlights that human beings and leaders can fail, but it directs the believers to find security solely in God rather than relying on humanity. Oh my goodness, my sister, thank you. My pathing counsel to every parent turning tonight is anchored in the reality of stewardship. Your adult children are ultimately not your own, they belong to God. Releasing control is not an act of abandoning them, but is the ultimate act of faith. Trust the foundation that you build. Trust the operations of the Holy Spirit, and gracefully move from the driver's seat to the co-driver or consultant chair. Your relationship will not diminish. It will mature into a beautiful long life partnership of faith. Thank you and welcome to our physical encounter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Oteyo. Over to you, Elder Mbeche. You can be able to close for us with a word of prayer.
I hope I can be heard.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to thank Anisha and Dr. Oteyo. This has been a very, especially for us, I think we are now in that stage that we're talking about releasing the tricky point, but we've learned a lot today. I'm just asking myself this question every time we meet as elders, sometimes when we are discussing. I've always been asking the elders who are free that question of what happens, because you realize that as we approach being elders, as we reach this stage, then, and we had children who have been growing all the way from the class, your class, Madam Miriam, they come, and then by the time we reach this particular stage, where do our children go to? Where are the children who are from Creta? Where are those teenagers or adults? Where do they disappear to from the time they knock the age of 14? That's a question we should ask ourselves, and it's here we've learned a lot. I think by the time we get to Sunday, let's see what we can do, because basically they just disappear. And right now you can even count the head count. If you look at the church right now, it's made out of youth from other churches. But where are ours? And are they still in church, or are they somewhere else? And this is a question we should ask ourselves. I realized this is a place I got lost. And it took me around 25 years to return back to the church, and scary feeling sometimes. I've always tried to talk to as many of the young people. This is really the stage that really makes a lot of a difference. So thank you so much. We've learned a lot today, and I think I loved the whole idea of how brave we've tackled some particular questions we are so much afraid to tackle. And we should continue doing this more and more. So let us pray. Father, what heaven, we are so honored and so grateful that you have allowed us not only to have this conversation, but to experience the thinking of our psychologists who are with us here, God, allowing us to have this conversation. That though the world might look at it as a scientific conversation, it's really the conversation that makes or breaks. And this is where, God, we are really needing your help. We are really needing your consultation and your management. So that, God, as we allow our children to grow into the next level, our adult children, as we've seen ourselves going through all the negotiation stages and all those things that we've had over the period. Let it not just be something that will stay in the internet somewhere and nobody's coming back to revisit. We've created this archive, God, because we know it's going to be a platform that can be revisited and over again. So we want to pray and thank the ministry, the Family Life Ministries, that you gave them this thought process. And we've opened up now a channel where conversation can be. And we've seen the same in conflict management, where this same brother and sister have allowed us to see more and understand ourselves better, and allowed us to see this conversation that we are having in our heads each and every day, but we are afraid to have a touch on it because we try to spiritualize while it's happening to us. But today, God, you've allowed us, you've opened us, you've allowed us to feel the touch of who we are, of how we identify, of how we personalize, of how we feel. You've allowed us to have a conversation that has changed us. God, let this stick in us, let it drive us, let it be something we can share to our children. And we are praying that where we were afraid, let them be stronger. Where we were careful, let them be much more firm in understanding themselves and moving forward. This is the purpose, and this is how we have to live, God. So we pray that you redirect us back to purpose and not to form. Thank you so much for our brothers who have attended from various places, our sisters who have attended from various places, our mothers who are with us here also, listening to this conversation. Thank you for allowing us to have this open and thorough conversation. Pray for your blessing as everybody goes to sleep, as everybody is going for the week, and as we again meet on the Sunday next week or next Sunday for this final part of this session. Thank you for the blessing. Thank you for being who you are to us. We glorify your name. We praise you because no other name can be praised in this world because you've always been with us. You've provided, you've supported, you've given us minds, you've given us wisdom, and thank you so much. We pray all this through Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. And